I love your story because it's so, like, guys, you don't understand as entrepreneurs what we have to go through. Right? Sometimes you see the final product, but behind the scenes,
No. I remember when they showed me the shelf where I had to pack my products. That was emotional. That was an emotional moment. Just seeing my product next to what Johnson & Johnson, seeing Nivea next to my product. And I knew the time for Africa had come. Lotion yaka at the time, the bottle latte so.
My fire wasn't like this. Our first
wasn't
can
like this.
was not even an actual,
Yes.
it was a wrap.
Yes.
Plastic.
Yeah. It was a very funny bottle. But had the Andy. What is this? No, lotion. But Portia, people are posting. Hey, Portia M is banning us. Yeah, Portia uhleli lapha ne-2-plate stove yakhe ushisa abantu. I hate Portia. I'm like, what is this? Then there's a guy who was in Joburg in Sandton who says, meaning she see level. A lady from Limpopo. Ukhomba isithombe uthi ushilo yabona ukusha ngomlilo. She has been on one side. This is what Portia M did to me.
Uyimbokodo, ungumzali, you're a leader, you're a community leader, and we are here because of you. Oh, great African woman, we love you, we appreciate you, and I'm very excited that I'm doing this episode to honor and celebrate another young African woman who's doing incredible things. Happy Women's Month to all of you. Thank you very much for tuning into the platform, Hustlers Corner. Igama lakhe ngu Sis Matsidiso Mngomezulu, but she's known to you and I as Portia M. She founded an incredible brand, and I can relate sitting here. I'm looking forward to this conversation because some of the things we'll be speaking about, it's going to seem like you guys are a fly on the wall, listening to two entrepreneurs who've built brands from the streets, from the ground up, having a conversation about their challenges, their upheavals, and just their stories and just their visions that they've had for themselves, their families, and the country of South Africa. Thank you very much once again, guys. Like, share, subscribe, become a part of the family. And just to appreciate your time for today, Mrs. Mngomezulu.
Thank you so much for welcoming me. It's such a great honor to be sitting next to you. I admire you so much on this journey that we are on. Thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you very much. I'm the one who's grateful. I was just bragging to the team behind the cameras. I'm like, no, nama brand we. No muntu la upeti brand yakhe. No,
that's true. That's true.
You know. And we intentionally do product placement. And maybe before we start our conversation, let's talk about the products that you have in your range, yes, and the ones that you brought here today.
So today I brought Ikumkani Glow. This is my flagship product.
Okay, so this is your biggest seller?
Yes.
Okay.
And the first product I actually ever produced. And from that product, I produced a line of other Marula products. We've got the Marula range. And we also have the pomegranate range, which is more like a premium product for us. This is the day cream from the pomegranate range, which caters for anti-aging and sensitive skin. We also have a baby range. When I had my daughter in 2019, I thought there's no way I'm going to use any other international brand when I can manufacture. So we have the Portia M Baby. We've also added Portia M for men in our range. We've got body lotions and face washes. So in all, we've got about 45 products.
45 products?
Yes.
And yet you started with just this one?
Just that one.
No, I started with this one.
Yeah,
this one was my first.
I remember it very well.
The black one. Oh, this was my first. This was your first.
Yes.
Guys, check this out. It's so amazing time, nako ya tsamaya.
Yeah.
You know, you'll always look back at all of the challenges that you're going through. You're probably in a dark place now. You're going through so many challenges. Life is tough. It's difficult. And you keep on hearing people saying that too shall pass. It's not a cliche. It is the truth because we come from challenges and we're about to share those challenges with you. Today we can tell the story and say, we've got 12 flavors. This was our first one. She says she's got now 45 products. This was her first. And then I want to know, it says Marula skin oil recommended for scars, stretch marks, uneven skin tone, dehydrated skin. Why did you start with this product and why did you start your company, the inspiration?
Sure. My brother, as a daughter of Africa and born and bred in a rural area in Limpopo, there wasn't much to look up to. But as I grew, I realized when I go to shops that there are so many brands, and most of them are international brands. And being a Matsidiso, and my mother named me Portia because she used to love Macbeth in those days. So apparently there was a character called Portia, and she loved that name, and she gave it to me. And I would go into those shops, and I would look at brands like L'Oreal or Elizabeth Arden. I was like, if people can buy Elizabeth, clearly they can also buy a brand called Portia M. And not only that, I'm quite a spiritual person. I believe in the good book, the Bible. So when I read the book about Abraham and what God said about Abraham and said, if you leave your country and your people, I shall make your name great. So that to me was a confirmation that there's greatness in our names. And whenever we name something after ourselves, we'll do everything we can in our power to protect it, And I believe when we are named to be something, that is a spirit follows that. And when I built a brand and named it Portia M, I was saying to the people out there, this is who Portia is. And whoever tries my product is trying out my spirit. And I believe it's a good spirit.
And why this specific product?
This specific product, I grew up in Ramashishimale, and there were marula trees there. My maternal grandmother at the time, she would teach me how to make alcohol, jwala, out of marula, baubidisa. And then there were nuts as well that I loved so much. Even when my parents took me to stay with me, she would still bring them because I loved the marula nut so much. And years later, I'm married to the Mngome Zulus and I get my firstborn son. And I happen to have some stretch marks on my side. And my mother-in-law says, we can heal those stretch marks. In the olden days, we used to use the marula oil. We would crush the nut of the marula and take that oil and put it on our stretch marks, and the stretch marks would heal. And I thought, wow, this is such a brilliant idea, because I always had those questions that why can't we as Africans produce something? Yet we have so many healing trees. Why can't we heal ourselves? And that's why I chose the marula oil to make a line of products out of it.
Did you have a big vision that will have other products to follow, or you're just trying out, or you had that vision out, I'm building a humongous thing here?
I did. The vision was definitely there.
Oh, okay.
All I needed was a key ingredient. Because as a woman, as much as I can use the oil, I still need to moisturize with a body lotion to seal the moisture. And if I wash my face, as much as I can have the oil inside the face wash to moisturize while I cleanse my skin, I still need a toner. I need a serum, I need a day cream, and I need a night cream. So in my spirit, the range was already there, but it had to come out from the oil.
So we'll come back to the brand.
Yes.
But we've established at least the genesis of how and why it started. Now let's go to the person behind the brand, because your story is very unique. Because the brand that you're pushing is also your name,
Yes.
which is not an easy thing to do.
not.
And it's not like it was a name of a famous person. You were not
True.
famous. By the way, you were very brave, right?
True. True. I just relied on what the good book said, because I think nothing is above God. If something has to happen and God has to push it himself, he will. And they say when the time for something has come, nothing can stop it. And sometimes you don't really have to be famous. I believe even the famous people, they were nobodies at some point, and they had to build that. And for me, the journey was through the product. That's how people came to know who Portia M is. So there's always a way. When something's time has come, it shall surely happen.
So we'll come back to Portia M, the brand. Let's come to Portia, or let's come to Matsidiso.
Yes.
I want to hear your story. Where were you born? How did you grow up? What type of family was it? Utsenika iskolo? I wanna know Matsidiso.
No, I was born from humble beginnings. I'm a child. Kungwana Iris le Samuele Sibia. My parents live in Pumalanga. I was born from a teenage mom. My mom was 18 when she fell pregnant with me. She was 19 when I was born. By the grace of God, my father married her. But at the time, I had to be raised by my maternal grandmother in Palabora, in a village called Ramashishmale. They were, it's such a dry place there. My mom used to call it a desert. But so many lessons I learned there from my grandmother. It was destiny, actually, because she was a businesswoman. Today we call them shops, but in those days they were called kefis. So she used to sell by herself, and at the time, in the evenings when she rounds everything off, she would pick me up and put me on the counter as she counts her monies that she made during the day, and she'll say. She used to call me Stompy, by the way.
Oh,
That's
no,
my
because Stompy. Good nickname.
Stompy. Because I was so small. I was a premature baby. So, yeah. So she used to call me Stompy. And then she'll put me on top of her counter and she'll give me responsibilities.
But by the way, guys, Stompy is the butt of the cigarette. When you're smoking the entire cigarette, that little part that gets left behind, the cigarette part, that's what you call a Stompy.
Yeah, so she would give me responsibilities like, hey, wanaka, when I kenya the 5 cent dekamo, those little bags. So, and I could see the fulfillment on her face when she counted her cents and whatever she made. And that for me, it encouraged me that, you know what, if you work hard, there are rewards at the end. And that's the type of culture she instilled in me. Even I went to school, Ramashishimali, that's why I started school. I still remember my first teacher at preschool. Her name was Mrs. Binky. She's still alive and she's so proud of me. There was a lot that I learned, especially humility and how to treat people. My grandmother will always insist, "Motho mongwe lo mongwe ke ngwana Modimo," and treat them as such because there's God in them. So those are the lessons that I learned. And later on, my parents took me in when they became more financially stable. And we moved to Emelo. And after Emelo, my father got a job in Grill, in a small town called in Grill in Pumalanga.
Yeah, Grill is a mining town, right?
Yeah, it's a mining
Actually,
town.
even Emelo is a mining town.
Yes. So he was a diesel mechanic.
Okay.
Yeah. So we stayed there. Our home is still in Grill. Then I went to TUT to study information technology. I then worked at TUT for a year as a student lecturer. I was the best programmer at the time. And I thought, my career would be in IT, I got a job at Telkom for about 8 months. I then got an opportunity to work for Siemens Medical in Midrand. And that's where my career actually grew. They trained me in Germany as a medical engineer until the business bug came back again. Because while I was at Siemens, I would still sell, small scarves, this and that.
No rekisa body ing so.
Ne ke rekisa di-scarfnyana, wa bona, ke stoka, ke rekisa. Eventually, when I discovered my product, I would sell to the staff at Siemens and they would support me. Actually, one of my best testimonials came from my colleague. who bought the oil from me and gave it to her mom, who was just from she just had an accident and she had this big scar on her neck. She used the oil and in about 3 months the scar had disappeared, you know. And yeah, that's my journey. And when the time came for me to resign at Siemens, I remember that night very well because I'm sure you would know when you are a hustler, when you are starting something, you have to attend events, you have to attend CEDA, their workshops, and that used to take a lot out of my work. And when you start selling a product, especially if you're advertising it on social media, you have to send it to people who are in Limpopo, who are in Cape Town. And I would unfortunately use Siemens resources to send some of the products, and I got in trouble because of that. But my managers today, they look at the brand and they realize it was worth it.
So you started this thing while on Bereka. So you basically used your salary.
Yes.
Now let's get into it.
Yes.
Tell me about the day that this idea came. I'm busy selling scarves and I'm busy selling these things. Actually, I can start this product. Do you remember the night when that idea came? Do you remember who you went to, which manufacturing company or plant you went to? And what did they say to you, the prices? Do you remember those times when sometimes you could not afford certain stocks? Let's zoom into that period.
I remember very well, like I said, the idea came through when my mother-in-law suggested the oil. I went and got the oil from the rural women in Swaziland. I tried it on myself. I then started a small secret group on Facebook, invited only my friends and told them about this amazing oil. Guys, I've tried it on my skin and it's working. I'm selling it for 100 Rand.
And this is when 2010, before 2010?
2011.
2011,
yeah,
okay.
2011. My son was already born because in 2010 when he was born, I was trialing the product on myself.
Yeah.
Then around 2011, February, I started the Facebook page. Most of my friends tried it. I want to talk about the first bottle I bought from the ladies. It cost me 250. It was a 500 ml. I then put it in small 100 ml bottles and sold it to my friends. They were buying it for 150. From that 150, I kept on restocking because there was demand. I wouldn't spend a cent out of that because I still had a family. I still had responsibilities. I'm married.
So you were already married when you started?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. I'm married. My husband also had his responsibilities in the house, and I also had mine. But I had to keep the dream going. The special part about him was that when he saw the passion that I had on selling the oil, he kept on saying, my wife, I think if you were to focus on this thing, because you love it, this is something that you love to do. What if you just give it time? Imagine if you were to focus on this 100%, how you turn this thing around. I still had fears at the time. Then I got pregnant again in 2012. I gave birth to my son, the second one, in 2012, October. While I was on maternity leave, I realized, you know what, I can't go back. If I go back, I won't be the same because this is what I really want to do. At the time, it really felt like this thing now has to manifest, so many, I would go to stores like Pick and Pay, Discam, and go to the shelves where my competitor brand would be like Bio Oil and start speaking that, my Marula oil will be next to you. Look at Pond's products and I'll declare that my day creams will be next to this brand. So it became like an obsession, a good obsession. By the time I had to go back to work, I already had set up that should I resign, this is how it would go. I had already gone to CEDA and asked for marketing material and events that I could attend to push the product. I think I went back after maternity leave. I worked for 2 months. And that morning, I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was listening to YouTube. I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe. And he said, when God wants something to happen, when the time for a thing has come, even if he has to come up from heaven himself to make sure that thing happens, he will. And that for me was confirmation, because this thing was now pressing me that I need to dedicate time to this. There are people who are waiting for this product. There are employees that are waiting for me to take a chance because they need employment. For me, this became more than just a brand. It was more of a ministry that I had to go and push, because there are so many lives that are dependent on me jumping ship from Siemens and going full force into building Portia M.
What are some of the negative voices that you're hearing, of negative things about this brand that you're hearing? Because I know a lot of people are starting now.
Yeah.
No, don't put your name on a product.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
don't do this. No, don't do that. What were some of those noises?
Oh, there were many. There were many. I used to sell this at church. People would be like, "Hey, TD, why you so call so many? Your husband is a lawyer. Oh, shem TD. Li oil ya high." Some of them will take my product and say they are selling and they'll never pay me. Those things happened. There are even relatives. I'll give them stock to help me push. They'll get paid and never pay me, So there's a lot of relationships that I had to lose and repair later, but it was part of the journey. Some people, for instance, I went to Gibbs. I got a supply development program at Gibbs. There were some senior entrepreneurs there who were like, "Ish, you're naming this thing after yourself. People will say, who's Portia? Abakwazi wena mos. Bazothi ubani?" Luckily, the lecturer in marketing said, in cosmetics, naming something after yourself normally works. I mean, there are people called Charlotte Tilbury. People don't know who those people are. But as long as the brand has quality and can advocate for itself and the efficacy really works, the people using the brand will advocate whatever the name is, as long as the brand sticks to or gives the promise that it gives to say, if you say this is Marula skin oil and it deals with stretch marks and it does exactly that, the brand will grow in that way. Yeah.
And let's talk about you now having to grow it from just selling it go Facebook, go kerekeng, your friends. How does this thing grow to you getting maybe your first platform to sell? And how does that platform grow?
Hey. Yeah.
Distribution.
That part, the first distribution channel I got, we approached Macro, Massmart. Massmart ifihla mo South Africa.
Yeah.
They said they wanted
Black-owned businesses.
black-owned businesses, and they want to empower them. Obviously, I sold Godi functioning tabo Sida, ke gopola ke ya go Ren Easter show. Ke na le stand mo, and then I had this brilliant promoters who were promoting my brand, and we made the first 30,000 ever, because at the time I was still manufacturing from the house, using a hot pot, hatela wa pya bogobe. Yeah. And then neki mixer ya dikuku. And then to fill up my bottles, neki sebedisa funnel ya paraffin.
Yeah, bona funnel.
And then I would do this so the air comes out, and then release the bottle so the pollution could go in. So that's how I used to fill my bottles. And for the creams, I would use a spoon.
Please display it well so the camera can see it. No, same place. Mo
Yes.
hona.
So negeta so.
Oh, no, press so.
Oh,
yes. And
so
then it sucks it in.
So it sucks it in.
Okay.
So that's how I used to feel, because I didn't have a filling machine. And then the lotions are thing, because of the way they were mixed, no cardinal di cloki sinyana so. Because the wax ya thing makes a dissolve hand. But the people that I sold to, they were so encouraging. They'll be like, "Hey, Portia, I love your lotion. It's moisturizing. But hey, shmarain isn't as implop. But takunandaba so push. We beg." And because I started this while I was working, I would mix and leave it with my nanny to feel. And when I come back from work, we'll continue to fill our orders. One day, after the Renista show, one of the buyers from Macro called me to do a presentation on my product. At the time, the oil didn't wasn't in a box. It was just like this. So I went through to present my product. It wasn't.
You're talking about this box, no?
Yes, the carton.
Because this is the actual box where it goes
Yes.
into. Okay.
Then she said to me, I'll give you 200% for your presentation. However, your packaging is incorrect. At the time, my day cream, neki packagile container 100 ml. That's what I could afford at the time. And she said, you know, your competitors, the people that you want to compete against. For example, your oil has a carton. It has a box. Bio oil is inside a box. And your day cream is too big. You have to minimize it because you want people to come back every month. So all the day creams that we have, they are 50 mils. So you need to go back and repackage this. So when can you come back and present again? I said in 2 weeks. I can come back with everything that you want. Went back home. When I realized that the cartons, I looked for suppliers for the cartons, for the boxes. They have a minimum order quantity. And the minimum order quantity is 10,000. And the cost of that minimum quantity was about 34,000. At the time, it was money that I didn't have, you know. And I tried to speak to them, please, man, I just need at least 10 just for a presentation. They said, no, the most we can do for you is 1,000. And they charged me 11,000 for that. So money had to come out from my salary to go and pay for that and go back to to macro. I went back after 2 weeks and they gave me my first listing. My first listing, they gave me 6 macro stores. One of them being Centurion, Macro Centurion. At the time, my husband had hustled a van for me. So this thing one day it will pass, but at least they could only van. So I drove that van to Macro. I remember the first delivery, I did it on my own. I drove there. Then there was this big truck, AXE. You know that roll on yaman.
Yes.
Yeah, black.
X, yeah.
X, yeah. So I looked at that truck and I said, one day Portia M will have a truck as big as this. One day. I went in, I was so emotional. When that receiving guy took my order number and said, yeah, the order number is correct. These are your products. And that printing paper is, or I want elevate print receiver. No.
Yeah. I know your story very well because I've been through a similar story, Nalis Pio. I love your story because it's so, guys, you don't understand as entrepreneurs what we have to go through. Sometimes you see the final product, but behind the scenes,
so they allowed me in patrol. At the time, next shrink wrap. When we deliver, we need to pack the products into 6s. So negiberikisa shrink wrap ila ya ko kitchen. That cling wrap ya dijo. So negidi cling ile ka yona so ka kenya nyana le stempe ne ke se rekile ko ba rekisang ditempe teng. Ka kenya ba re banya ka le barcode ka kenya mo ban receiver. I remember when they showed me the shelf where I had to pack my products. That was emotional. That was an emotional moment. Just seeing my product next to what Johnson & Johnson, seeing Nivea next to my product. And I knew the time for Africa had come, you know, that we too can produce something for ourselves. I knew then that there was nothing stopping me from here. And I was the delivery guy. I was the merchandiser. I was the promoter at the time to try and sell the product, you know. And I think what helped was the building of relationships. God doesn't make a mistake when he makes people. I happen to love people very much. And I happen to have this calmness that also shocks me sometimes. And you know how store managers can be, right? They can be mean. You know how buyers can be. They'll turn you back.
Ba bang krel ba tshwana le wena ile batho ba bantsho mara still ba sa o tshware mtšhini. And then you're like,
what's going on? You know, you can make an appointment that you've been waiting for 3 months, 6 months. Go fitla kwa le motor ish a ke na nako. Go back.
I know what you're talking about.
You know?
I can relate.
So I had to build those relationships. So if it doesn't sell within 2 weeks, we are taking it
Yeah,
out.
come and get this thing. Yeah.
Come and get this thing. It's not selling. So Centurion Macro, I delivered. Then le more Crown Mines Macro got deliver. Lotion yaka at the time, the bottle la thing so.
Mofaya wasn't like this. Our first can was not even an actual, it was a wrap.
Yes.
Le plastic
It was a very funny bottle. But handy Andy. What is this? No, lotion. But Portia, Then they also gave me a store in Cape Town. Let's talk about the trading terms now, the payment terms. As much as I was excited to be listed, I didn't realize that if the stock runs out on the shelf, you have to keep refilling. Whether about birthdays
the replenishment,
or not, you have to keep replenishing, And I get next na chelete that stock sa ukena. Stock sa fela. Bara banyaka stock happy.
Oh, stock was a fella. And this is in how long?
Shelving. It was about 2 weeks in.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. And guess what the trading terms are saying?
Yeah.
The payment term is that they'll pay me within 40 working days.
Okay.
So what I'll do, at the time I had one employee, Rufus. So to keep Rufus. 40 days. And then there's still 2 more weeks to go before they pay me. Rufus needs his salary. I'm phonele ntate. Nkosikazi ngathi uyakhala kwenze njani? Rufus akazi uzongibhatala. Manje why ungasho? So those were some of the challenges, as an entrepreneur, that one goes through. The rejection again that you get from the stores. Our products are always questioned. I remember being told, hey, your barcode, these 3 signs that we put here. The recycling sign, then there was this e-sign. So some of the compliances I was not very sure about. Ngafaka le e-sign. But you have to take away all the stock because you don't have the certificate to put an e-sign.
Yo, we went through the same thing, SAPS.
Yes.
Yo, the South African Bureau of Standards. Yo. They made us remove everything.
Yes.
And they were like, if you can be found selling this thing again, this brand is done.
Yeah.
Yo, I can relate. And we even made the papers because Sunday World published an article.
I remember.
You remember that?
I remember.
I'm sure you could relate from wherever you were.
Yes. And I was praying for you.
That thing actually almost destroyed our business because people were like, no, this thing is not safe to consume.
So,
Yeah. It's all over Sunday World, Yeah, this thing Mofa is not SABS approved. This thing is rubbish.
Well.
So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So we had to recall that stock. Now to make payment. So you can't get that payment. You have to start over. And then I remember they gave us a macro in Cape Town. At least it's a Joburg. I attend the merchandising and visit them. The store manager in Cape Town kept on saying, this product is not being merchandised. There's no merchandiser for this product. And you have to get a merchandising company. I called merchandising companies. They wanted at least a turnover of 80,000 per month. I was not there. I was not even close to that. So when I got my first payment, I had to fly to Cape Town. That flight cost the cost of a hotel, just to go and pack products properly. So I can get the next order and to be paid within 40 days again. I had to try and get to other retailers. I went to Clicks at the time. Clicks didn't want to see me. They said, nobody knows what this brand is. I tried ShopRite. I remember the buyer at the time. It was a guy called Stan. Very difficult. old white man. Uh, I went in there. He's like, "Oh, what is this, marula? What's that? It's a tree, right? How come nobody has ever done this with the big brands? Is it a good product? Are people responding to it?" Kim Mon said the social media at the time, people had already started advocating for the brand. I told him I'm at Macro. He's like, "Ah, Macro is not a competitor, man. At least if you were at Pick and Pay or somewhere, then we could look at you." But
Yo, guys, buyers can be ruthless. The
you know,
buyers. And I can go, as she was saying, you've been waiting for that meeting for 3
for
months.
3 months.
And you are so early for that meeting. When it happens, sometimes they can be like, you know what, I'm sorry, this
I'm
meeting
sorry.
won't happen anymore. Can you come back in
Yes.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to rush to Coca. Like, how?
Yeah.
This
I've been
person.
waiting for this.
And they
You
don't even
know?
have no conscience.
No
Like,
conscience.
Joe.
None whatsoever. Or at least in go Macronyana or go Pick and Pay, I would look at you. But right now, let's give it 2 years. Let's give it 2 more years to grow and see. Luckily, I got support from APSA. I was at an event, so this APSA ladies on their supply development, they noticed me while I was exhibiting my products. Then they gave me a chance to go around the country with them on the Women in Business campaign. They said, no, all I have to give them is a pack of products per each city. It was about 12 cities across the country. They will pay for my flights. They will pay for the hotel. All I have to do, they just set up a table and sell. And then they'll give me a platform to share my story. We went around the country. It was like a setup, you know. Me listening to those business women, it was like God giving me hope, listening to their stories, how they started. There was also Margaret Owa Hedges.
Yeah.
Yes, she spoke about her story with her husband, how they started the business. There were so many incredible business women who shared their stories. And I was like, this is possible. I am possible. I just need more time, you know. And one of those areas that cities that we visited was Cape Town. While we were in Cape Town, they told me Suzanne Ackerman will be in the room, so I better present well. They are hoping that she'll notice me. Maybe they can put me under their Pick and Pay supplier development. Hey, I prepared, my brother. This other lady, Ashantiwa, even bought me a dress, a traditional dress, and a duki. Gore ke be motle, ke laban, ke present. Hey, kaya go staging. Kar, all of you here, you're using L'Oreal, you're using Elizabeth Arden, but you've never met them. But today you are meeting Portia and
Yeah.
and I knew I captured their attention and I told them about my story. After that presentation, Suzanne and Mishinga, her assistant at the time, came to my table. They said, wow, we loved your presentation. Oh, you've got products. You know, we have a supply development, go Pick and Pay. We want to put you on. And then by check about, yo, ibile unali barcode. Muswana, you are ahead. You are ready for listing. So they gave me their numbers to call them. I called them after that, and then they arranged for me to see a buyer at Pick and Pay. At least that was a lovely buyer. I presented, and after 2 weeks, she called me and said, no, I'll give you a chance. We'll give you about 10 Pick and Pay owned stores, and the other franchise stores. You know, franchise stores, right? They are owned by somebody.
Yeah.
And when you get there, you still have to present again. So they opened me up for all the franchise stores, but only gave me 10 Pick and Pay owned stores.
Yeah, guys. So Pick and Pay has got like Pick and Pay corporate. It's got Pick and Pay family stores, and it's got the Pick and Pay, the big ones, right? So they're different. Rona ba re qadile ka tsela tse- le rona ba re qadile ka tse few tsa ko di-garageng.
Yes.
I forgot what those ones are called. And then le rona, they gave us a certain number. They said, let's see how you perform there first.
Ne? Then I went in. I had to sell myself to the franchise, the family stores. They gave me space, you know. But then I pushed on social media. And that's why I feel it was a blessing for me to study information technology, because there was no budget for marketing, to be honest. But social media helped to push. I remember this other lady who said, you know, I bought this cream from Pick and Pay. It's called Portia M. Yes, being nama pimples. She had pictures before and after pictures. She's like, this is a picture I took about a month ago, and now look at my skin. And that's how it started. And people started commenting, and others came out and say, actually, I also use the same thing. Hey, yasebenza lento. And that is how Portia M became what it is. So there was no face for Portia M. The people that used the product were the face for Portia M.
How crazy is that when you walk in,
Yeah.
one of our team members, Sweggy,
Yes.
he's surprised that you are Portia
Portia
M
M,
because
yeah.
he's exposed to the actual brand, and he just told you his story that he used to have
Yes.
acne as well,
Yes.
and he used it, and that's what helped him.
Yes.
So your
yes.
brand spoke for
It
itself.
spoke for itself. And all I had to do was to always respond. I used to be on social media like I was crazy. And I would speak to people like they are speaking to their sister, you know. Hey, sis Portia, lento man. Hey, le lotion ngithenga Pick and Pay. They will tell us even what they want, like which products must come next. So they would help us with innovation as well. That helped the brand in becoming innovative as well. Our innovation comes from what the customer wants from us.
And then let's talk about the growth now, because there's something called growing pains.
Yes. Oh, they are growing pains. So, sisese lapho, sibu, sangene Pick and Pay, saye ShopRite after a year now. ShopRite noticed to say everybody on social media is talking about Portia M. Keke called me. He was Stan's assistant at the time. And they said, no, let's give you 60 ShopRite stores and let's see how it goes. After 3 months, the sales were growing. They had to open us up. At Pick and Pay, after 4 months, they gave us 120 stores. By the 8th month, we were in all Pick and Pay stores. Eventually, Clicks called and said, people are looking for this product. We went into Clicks, but that's where the fun began. Because that's where our category actually is listed. That's where skincare. Anyone who looks for skincare, they go to Clicks or Discam. We grew so much, and that was around almost 2019, 2020. That's when COVID also hit. Remember, we are a social media brand. When COVID hit, most people were at home. So they were exposed to their social media. And we actually grew during that time because people were curious. Oh, there's this brand. Let me try it. Mangphuma la after COVID, ngifuna ukuba muhle. But Portia M yenza abantu baglow. So now we are busy doing what we're doing with our marketing team ku Twitter. Asazi ukuthi kwenzakalani in the background. We don't know that we are beating multinationals with the sales, that the brand is growing so much in sales that people are having some pains. The next thing, there's an attack on social media. How people are posting, hey, Portia M is banning us. Yeah, Portia uhleli lapha ne-2-plate stove yakho ushisa abantu. I hate Portia. I'm like, what is this? It starts trending, you know? And you know when something is marked, now that I know, at the time I didn't know. Then there was this influencer who started, between which brands would you never use again? And our name is highlighted. Portia M, there's Gentle Magic, there's Pond's, there's what, but our name is highlighted in black. I'm like, hey, then these people come, Portia M, Portia M, Portia M. Then there's a guy who was in Joburg in Sentin who says, meaning she see level. A lady from Limpopo. Ukhomba isithombe uthi ushilo yabona ukusha ngomlilo. She has been on one side. This is what Portia M did to me. But the other side is not banned. And my question was like, if you use a cream, you don't use it on one side. You use it all over your face. How come it didn't bend the whole face? But at the time, social media was like, I'm like, what's going on? I'm telling you, that was one of my lowest points. I was like, the only thing I could do was pray. You know, I was like, God, you brought me here. You built this, and you are going to sustain it. Ngithi ngiyavuka ebusuku, I see the same thing. By the grace of God, then our real customers started speaking now. They're like, I use Portia M. This is what it did to me. I use Portia M. And then the positives started coming. And then we had people like Abo Lerato Khanyago who've advocated for us. And she said, no, this is sabotage. There are so many brands that you use, you can get a rash, but you don't come to social media and speak of them like this. Because this is a local brand, this is definitely sabotage. Then there was a lady called Kanyima Gobani on SAFM. And
She's
she
a
said,
journalist, yeah.
yes.
Hello, Kanye. Looking forward to sitting down with you on the podcast. She's incredible.
She was incredible. And she's like, I've interviewed Portia. I've tried the products. They never did this to me. This is definitely some type of sabotage, you know. And this other, at the time, bengazi mina lento ukuthi ku-Twitter, you can use influencers to make something trend. You just need 50 people and a topic can trend like that. I remember this other lady, she sounded like somebody who knows something about skincare. And she said, yeah, their toner, even, it has alcohol and everything. I'm like, no, our toner doesn't have alcohol. On the ingredients are listed and we don't have alcohol in any of our products. And I responded and I said, no, we can send our products to you so you can try it. Our toner does not have alcohol. In all of that, I didn't respond. And I told the marketing team, let's just let it flow and our customers will speak on our behalf. On day 3, someone advised that, no, we should make a statement. And my husband, because he's a legal person, said, no, we shouldn't make a statement. We should respond in a way that the customer will understand. And a statement can be misinterpreted, you know. So let's rather not make a statement, but let's show our customers what we do in the factory. We managed to track down the lady in Limpopo who had said we burned her face. Yet now, there's no scar, you know, there's not even a sign of a scar that shows uti lo muntu lo washa. We took her in, we took her to a dermatologist to assess if this lady was really burned. She was not burned. She then confessed that no, she was bought by a certain brand to speak bad about Portia M. That Portia M is not making it easy. We are stealing a lot of market share and some brands are not happy. As we went through the investigation, we also noticed that actually that whole campaign was bought. You can buy that. You can target a brand and say, I'm targeting more fire. You have to pay $28,000. And that's almost $350,000. And a local brand that we might be competing with, I didn't think it was a local brand that did that to us. It was definitely a multinational.
Because that's a lot of money.
It's a lot
Why would
of
you spend so much money to destroy someone?
And 2 weeks after that, we won a supplier of the year at Clicks because we beat all the multinationals. Our brand was number 1 in facial care. We did not know all those stats. So there are people who knew what we were doing. Because at the time, we were not checking the Nielsen's report. The Nielsen's report shows you which products are doing well, who's number 1, which brand is coming up. You know, it shows you across. It takes data for the whole country and shows you which brand is coming up. And we were number 1 in facial care at the time. We did not know. So whoever was doing this knew what was going on in the background. From there, we did a video with our factory to show, because when they were doing the attack, they would say, no, Portia busy a 2-plate. Angithi vele yazi ukuthi store sami sibuya ku 2-plate, bengiz manufacturer ku 2-plate stove. Ushisa abantu mixes into wrong.
Na Mr. Samsijalo ukuthi lo uthengise emarenke.
Yebo.
So they still have that perception.
That
I get
perception.
you. Yeah.
So we had to clean that up and really show them, because at the time, now we had a factory, you know, a 1,200 square meter factory.
But she's about to make what
mixes in
They paint you out as somebody who's ignorant, who doesn't know what they're doing. Yeah.
Yes. And also, I mean, at the time, we were already certified by the SABS. Our facilities were certified. We test our products. There's nothing that, even before I could list a first product, I made sure that the compliance part of it is taken care of, because I know it's a topical cream. There could be a lot of mistakes that could happen. So I had the backing of the dermatologists. even when that thing happened on Twitter, they're like, no, somebody who really hates you did this. Because even if a cream burns you, there's no way it can do this. It's either you'll have a red rash, which will subside, but it can't burn the skin like fire went through it. There's no way that would happen. So I had that backing to say, should a push come to a shove, we are also ready to come out and advocate and say, we've tested this. This is a safe product. So we came up with that video. It was all over social media. It's funny how the influencers that started the thing, we actually hired one of them, the person that started that question. We asked her to come and speak about our brand, and she did. And the people were like, but last week you were saying Portia M is not a good product. Kanti nama influencer ninjani. And that's how I realized, okay, so this is how influencers work. And from that day, we decided as a brand that we would rather have our customers who actually use our products become our influencers because they can advocate for a brand that they've used. Other people are just loyal because they're making a living. The next thing they move to the next brand. Most of our influencers are definitely our customers. They are people who really, really use the product.
That's incredible. Same here. Our brand
Yeah.
has just grown because of you guys.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you guys posting it. Every time when people buy it, they post it. I would repost them,
Yes,
And even the
yes.
people who sell it, they would post
Yes.
themselves selling it. And,
Yeah.
and we appreciate you guys. So, Mina, in my mind, because it's a local brand and there's just this perception, now I'm in the field, I'm growing my more fire.
Yes.
I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I don't remember. I'm thinking, Portia M is still a new brand. It's Zamela, Shem. Hey, and then I get a, and my agent says, no, there's a booking. They want you to come and MC Gupi Gupi, yabo?
Yes.
I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the quotation, and then I find out good it's Portia M in Bukai so MC at the event. Portia M. So when I put out the quotation, I'm not even getting a discount or something,
Yes.
And then I'm like, okay, cool. This discount is paid. Like immediately it was paid. My quotation was paid like before time, like way 2 or 3 weeks ahead. And then I go to the event. That's when I actually realized how big your brand was. I realized when I started seeing the Limpopo team, the Mpumalanga team, I even saw the Swaziland team, and these are hundreds and hundreds of young people. I think you guys were doing an award ceremony.
Yes, as well.
And you were also on stage celebrating them,
10
giving them.
years. It was our 10
It was a
years.
10-year anniversary. How long ago was it?
I think 3 years back.
3 years ago, yeah.
Yes.
So only then I realized how much your brand had grown. And I just wanted to say congratulations. I'm so disappointed at myself that we're only doing this interview 3 years later. Because I wanted it to happen like that time. But I'm glad uNkulunkulu finally usihlanganisile to do this interview. But I just wanted to celebrate you and congratulate you. And what I was seeing on stage, you were not only celebrating them and giving them awards, you were also giving them, I think, monetary something for the top performers. But you're also mentioning on stage, these are the sales they are making. I'm like, this thing is a big company, Mustan. But yet you are so humble.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
And let's talk about that before we go towards the end of the interview. Just how you carry yourself as the leader of the business, the humility, and just you're also speaking about being, but in communicating to the clients yourself. Because I don't see Elizabeth Adenazong Pendula social media.
No, that's true. That's true. When you build something from scratch, you should know you are everything in it. And I had to instill myself in the team. It's amazing how even today when customers respond, they think they're responding to me. Because in my marketing team, there's a team now of people and they still think they are speaking to one Portia M.
Yeah.
So that means the skill has been transferred very effectively. As a leader, I always try and communicate to my team and explain to them that, guys, you are part of a revolution here. We always talk about economic freedom in our lifetime. I think I realized early enough that white people won't just give us, everything on the silver platter. We need to work for it, and each and every one of us has a segment that they can work in to make sure that economic freedom is realized. And mine is in retail, is in skincare. So I'm creating a revolution there. And them as my team, they are part of this big dream, and they need to buy in this vision so much that every day they live it. They need to understand the bigger picture. We are not just doing this for our salaries at the end of the month. We are doing this for generations to come. You know, their children's children will speak about what we've started now with them. One day when Portia M becomes more like Vaseline, you know, when you say Vaseline, that's petroleum jelly, but Vaseline has promoted themselves so well that every petroleum jelly
Vaseline.
Vaseline. Yabona. Sifuna ukuthi noma kuyi-oil or kuyi-day cream or kuyi-lotion, people must just say Portia M, Portia M. We want to be that. We are the future, you know, home of skincare in Africa. So that is the thing that I always communicate to them, that the big picture is not where we are now. There are so many people that believe that we've made it now. A few people know who I am now, but that is not the goal for me. The goal is bigger than that. You know, I would always look at the painting, Mona Lisa, you know, that famous painting, Mona Lisa. And I want my face, generations to come, to be like that. I want people to point at it and say, this is the lady that revolutionized skincare in Africa. So the picture is that it's greater than what people see now. You know, last month one was on Forbes magazine.
Nice.
For someone who's in business, that is the ultimate, you know. It is the ultimate as far as being recognized as a businesswoman. However, that is just another encouragement that we need, that, you know what, our dream is being realized. We still need to make it to international Forbes magazine. We are not yet done. We are just beginning.
How many countries are you in now?
We are in about 13 countries. We are very big currently in Zambia. We actually have our own Portia M stores now, standalone stores as well, on top of what we have in retail. We are in over 4,000 stores nationally retail, and we have 18 stores nationally, Portia M stores. In Zambia, we have 13 stores. We are in Tanzania. We are opening another store tomorrow in Tanzania. We have distributors across Nigeria, Angola, Gabon. And we are also targeting the United States because there's a lot of demand for our products there.
How many people do you employ?
Currently, it's over 300 people, counting even the people at the stores who work for us at the stores, the factory team, the merchandising team. So it's 300 people. We are hoping to hire more people. I can't wait for us to reach the number 1,000, because you and I know that when we employ one person, we are supporting at least 4 people.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and I think that's what you and I wake up for every morning.
Yes, ma'am.
To see someone who came in with a different hairstyle when they started working for us, and now having braids, having weaves, driving that car. Someone saying, I built my house, because my mother a house because I was working at Portia M. My grandmother was in hospital. We couldn't afford her medication. Now she's at home because I'm working for Portia M. Those are the stories. Even if that's all we came here to do, Sbu, then we've achieved what we were supposed to do.
What inspires you? Or who are some of those people that you look up to?
Sure, a lot of people inspire me. I love Oprah. I love her wisdom. I love Auspasi. She's such a courageous person. There's so many people who inspire me. I love Vasitana. She's such a diligent woman. She's got so much perseverance. Nothing can bring her down, you know. I love her character so much. I love Mamwini Mandela. I love her courage. You know, what she did to continuously keep Mandela's name in our minds, in people's minds. Well, I wasn't there, still young. But for her to continuously keep the legacy going, even when Mandela was in prison, that takes a lot of courage. I look up to such women, you know. So there's different people who inspire me. I won't say there's one person who inspires me. I draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of different people.
Yo, that is amazing what you've achieved, and your story is so inspiring. It's 13 years now, ne?
Yes, it's 13 years now.
And your head office is?
We are at West Hills now. We've got
Okay.
a factory.
Where's West Hills?
West Hills is in Centurion.
Okay.
So now we have a 6,000 square meter factory. We are automating most of our processes. So we've got 2 factories now. The one that you know, that you saw
Yeah.
that time.
That big one,
Yeah,
yeah.
that big one, yeah. So we are in West Hills now, in Centurion.
And how difficult was it to start your own manufacturing plant?
It was
Because I know it's
difficult.
expensive. Yo,
It's
It's a
expensive.
lot of money.
It's expensive, but I must say CEDA really assisted me.
Okay.
I was based at the Innovation Hub. After my house, I went to the Innovation Hub. I got a 40 square meter factory there, and I got a grant worth 600,000, which I used to buy machinery. Because you know, when they give you a grant, they need to see the receipt that
Yeah.
you bought exactly what you said you'll buy. From there, we grew. You know, CEDA also came in to assist with extra machinery. At the time, it was like 100 kg, but now we have about 1,000 liter mixing tanks because the production demand has increased.
Your message to other entrepreneurs out there, especially those that are like you and I, that are building a brand,
Yeah.
what would you like to say to them?
Giving up is not an option. There has to be a reason bigger than just being successful, why you are doing what you are doing. The dream has to be bigger than that. You have to persevere. And no is not a no. It's just an opportunity to go and do something better and come back and try again. Don't give up on your dream. It is there for a reason.
And still facing on the same camera, your message to young women out there who are where you were 13 years ago when you were starting Ka Hot Plate. Ka Hot Plate. I know you are not doing it Ka Hot Plate, but yeah, that's the joke.
Yeah. As women, we are incubators. We are creators. That's one thing that we share with God. We are able to incubate a dream until it manifests and it comes to reality. I did it giving birth to children. My firstborn made me realize a dream. My secondborn made me resign from work. My thirdborn created the giant that you see today. So there's nothing that a woman cannot do. As much as you are a woman, there are many challenges. There's a lot of red tape against us, but the world is ready for you to manifest.
You're such an incredible story, Portia, and I do know that we don't have enough time now. I would have loved to go deeper into the operations of the business, etc., especially for those entrepreneur audiences out there that want to get deeper into the convo. I would love to have another sit down with you, maybe in a couple of months' time.
I would love that too.
Is
I'm
it?
so honored.
Ke a leboga.
I'm such a big fan of yours.
I'm a big fan of yours too.
I'm such a big fan. Oh, wow. You know, when you made it for our event, I
Yes,
was so
ma'am.
happy. We were so honored.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so, so much. Thank you for being a brother, a leader, you know, because when I saw you continue with more fire, you gave me the reason to keep going, to keep going. As you were fighting your own wars and winning them, I knew that I will win mine as well. Thank you.
Ke a leboga. Thank you so much to your family, to Mr. Mgomezule as well. The whole team, Portia, the team leaders, the leaders, the guys on the ground, and some of you guys who are newer working at the stores. We want the stores to be more than 1,000. We want you guys to be all over the world. We are so proud of you and we love you so much, you know. It's so amazing what you've achieved. You know, what you were also saying, like almost everything you were saying, I could relate. Even when you were saying you used to look at other brands and be like, one day, How about bio oil,
Bio
or
oil.
my brand will be
Brand will
sitting
sit
with
in
you
there.
guys there. I used to do that. I even used to record videos.
Yes.
Come 2014, I'd put them on Facebook, I'd put them on Instagram and say, and put it next to Coca-Cola.
Cola,
I'll put it next to Red Bull. And now it's like becoming normal, you know, just to walk into a garage.
Mofa is there.
You know what I mean?
The power of the spoken word, you know, something that we take for granted. The truth is, God spoke. He keeps speaking. Those who listen to his word, we read what he spoke. It's important to speak what you want. Everything begins in the spirit and you speak it out, then it manifests. It's very important to keep declaring a thing until it comes to pass.
And I've seen that.
Yeah.
What an amazing message. Everything I used to see in my mind then.
Yes. It's even more than exceeding.
You know what I mean?
It's
even bigger.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not like you're not grateful.
Yeah.
But it's because it's been so much in your mind for so long.
Yes.
That when people see the actual reality, they're
like,
happy for you and they're celebrating you.
And
it's not that you're not grateful, but it's like,
you've
but I
seen
knew
it.
because I've been seeing this thing all these years.
But honestly speaking, sometimes it feels like it's an out-of-body experience.
Yes.
It feels like, is this really me?
You know?
Is this really me? Did it just happen?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But thank you. And just also how you carry yourself in grace, in success. Because I think that's another thing. And those are the topics I'd like for us to get into on our next interview. How you carry yourself in grace, in humility, in your success. Because a lot of us, when we get to reach that success, that's when we lose it. Khanti, that's when the real fight starts now.
Yeah.
Because now other big players start seeing you as this big player.
Yeah.
And some of them can play dirty.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I mean?
They do. Like what happened on Twitter. We thought we were still a small fish and they saw this shark
You know what I mean? Yo.
We didn't know. You know?
So thank you so much for fighting the fight and staying the cause.
Thank you.
Enjoy your Women's Month. Enjoy your Women's Day. And also Obadu Medise Kontlung and at the business as well.
Thank you, sir. We love you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Continue doing what you're doing.
We love you too, guys. Thank you so much for watching this. We hope this episode has inspired you to go and become the best version of yourself. You've heard her share her story and me chipping in here and there about some of my experiences which are similar. So don't think you're going through it alone, because this journey does get lonely. You know, it will get lonely. You will get to a point where sometimes you even get your cars taken. Sometimes that's how this thing starts. So never give up. Stay the course. Keep on fighting. One day you will get to where you're supposed to get you. Have a great Women's Month, and thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next video. Ke a leboga. Oh, one thing I forgot to ask you. We have not stopped the video. The one thing I forgot to ask you, still looking on that camera, I would like for you to speak to. I'm gonna send you this video 20 years from now. I want you to speak to your 60-something-year-old self, however old you will be at that time. What would you like to say to that Coco Ola at that old age? What would you like to say to her? Sure. You're probably watching this surrounded by your grandchildren, etc. What would you like to say to her?
I'll say, girl, you did it. You did it. You did it for so many women. You did it for your great-grandchildren. Thank you for standing up. Thank you for fighting the good fight of faith.
See you guys on the next video. Incredible. So Mem Portia M is a businesswoman. She's a business leader. She's a philanthropist. We didn't touch on that. We will touch on the next interview. Incredible work that she does in empowering our communities. And thank you for tuning in. See you on the next video.